blast. And then for Mr. Scott, I met him in Columbus for our new Ohio Home League draft. So this is my summer love and catching up to me in the beginning of October, and I am I'm thrilled to be able to catch back up with these folks. This is good stuff. So thank you guys again. I appreciate that.
All right.
Could you possibly give us a better example of the whole summer lovin' thing, J Mike? Just quick, real, because I don't understand. I've never seen Grease, so if you could just maybe give me a quick rundown.
Well, it all starts with the fact that I've got chills, and some might say they're electrifying. And sometimes I feel like I'm losing control, because sometimes the power that you the viewer, you the listener, you the guests, you G Money that you're supplying, I'm just I listen. I can't even finish. I'm stunned.
Come on. I want it. I want the pipes. Give it to me, J Mike. Sing it. Come on.
Can't do it.
How are you going to bring out Grease, the example, Grease metaphor, and not come through with the summer?
Because that wasn't the whole point was, hey, I met all these people this summer, and they're here with me now. Like, hey, it's like, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah,
This is why we can't have nice things, Gabe.
I thought,
oh my God, you're not supposed to be on his side, on his team.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
I pressed play because you threatened a Grease metaphor. You sing. People like to hear you sing. Why didn't you sing? Why aren't you singing? We can wait. We have all night.
Would you look at that? We've gone live apparently.
Indeed, we're live. It's the open bar. We're live. Yeah. We're live on the open bar. It's Tuesday. It's 9:30 Eastern-ish. We even started a little bit early, ish, because I thought that J Mike was going to bless us with that golden esophagus.
That golden esophageal lining. What is going on here?
Nonetheless, we're live. We've got people here. We'll get to those people in a second. We won't introduce them like at the end of the show like we did last week. J Mike, how are you, my friend?
Listen, as I said before, this is a real treat for me tonight, so I'm good. Excited to be here. It has been a long week, and I already thought that today was still Monday, and that for whatever reason we were podcasting on a Monday. Scott can attest to that, as he can here in just a few moments. But no, it's good to be here. It's good to be able to chop it up with you again, Gabe, and the fact that we are a mere week and a half away from the reuniting. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here for that and to be able to have you come up to my neck of the woods to watch our beloved Jaguars take on the Bengals. So I'm excited about that as well. So yeah, it'll be a good time, man. I'm riding high while extra tired at the same time. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it.
It's the best way to ride, my friend. I'm excited. I'm excited for Jaguars Bengals. I don't know if I'm excited about that part, but
yeah, back up.
Might get the dub. Yeah, it'd be entertaining to watch the shoe fall. You got to get your gear in order there, J Mike. It's sneaking up there, buddy. And,
with the way the shipping is, you're right. I probably won't even have it in time, sadly.
Yeah. All right. Well, people are here. Other people. All people I have never met before on the internet, at least in person. We'll start with the people who were least prepared for tonight because they didn't know this was a video podcast. And we have to, first of all, apologize for that. But second of all, just kind of flex a little bit because we have you in the flesh. We have you el natural. Not organic, non-GMO, gluten-free. Like we have y'all like ready to go. So, Kate, Michelle, how are you?
We're
happy to have you.
Gluten-free. We also did we were a few blocks away and we looked at the clock. We were like, we're supposed to be on a podcast in about 3 minutes. So we started sprinting with the dog. We were very unprepared for this.
But no, we're always prepared with our best selves.
Yeah, I got it all up here. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Hey. Yeah, I was wondering if you made the show sheet, and it sounds like you did. It is all up there. Then that will do just fine for us tonight. And good. I mean, a really good podcast to just be late for. I mean, so kudos to you for that.
It's the open bar, guys.
Well done.
Exactly. It's our brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And J Mike, you never introduced me to this guy. Like, I don't even know this guy. I mean, you added him to the little DM group that we had, and I didn't know who this guy was. I still don't. Okay. I had to hit the follow back because I was that kind of person, you know. Can't keep up with all the Twitter followings. So J Mike, I think you deserve to introduce our next guest.
Next guest hails from Ohio, OHIO, as the kids say. He is a Kentucky Wildcat fan, just like myself. Hashtag BBN. Ryan McDowell, I see you in the chat. What's cracking? BBN all over the place. He is my first time meeting Mr. Scott, or at least hearing his smooth, delicious, dulcet tones, was on the Trade Addicts podcast. And then from there, I was able to meet him and be in the same league as him in the hashtag OHFF Dynasty League. Shout out to Dynasty Madman for that. The one, the only, don't call me no chill, Scott Connor. What's cracking, Scott?
That was
yeah, I'm like blown away at that introduction. I didn't expect that. I expect, hey, Scott, tell everybody who you are and whatnot. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This has been a long time coming to join you guys on the show. Listen to it. I can't say every single episode, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. But that's basically where I came from. I'm the one that probably plays in more Dynasty leagues than anybody you know. Probably sets more lineups on a weekly basis than anybody you know. My girlfriend probably is about to kill me for being constantly talking about fantasy football. But that, I guess that comes with the territory. We've been dating about 4 years. So I think that has kind of gotten to the point where it's been accepted at this point. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. Really, you just find me at Dynasty Command Center. That's where I spend almost all my time between that and different podcasts. That's pretty much where you can find me, and Twitter. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure to have you, Scott, and to meet you, genuinely. And
you too.
Good location as far as the girlfriend goes. I mean, it appears. Are you in a garage or a basement?
I'm in the garage. That's because I can get away in the garage, and there's not a constant ruckus. There's 5 cats and a dog and a pretty messy house inside. So this is normally where I do all my podcasting and all my fantasy football stuff. So yes, I am in the garage. That is my office.
Okay. How do the acoustics hit? Can we get a little summer loving? Huh?
Nothing. It's dead quiet. I just don't know. This is the first year I've kind of transitioned everything into the garage as a little office. But we'll see how it hits when the Ohio winter hits here in about a month or two. I don't know if it's going to be able to last all summer in here because it gets it's already getting a little chilly.
You can't stay in there. You can't.
I have to. Like this is my spot, man. This is my spot.
Get a nice pair of snow pants, snow boots. You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
Well, you see a car in the background, but if I panned over a little bit, there's a massive TV right over here. There's a lazy boy. In between there's a bench press so that I can get my workout on. So it's pretty sweet.
Okay.
Is it not cold? Did I miss where you're from?
Ohio.
I'm in Columbus.
Yeah.
It's cold. It will be cold. It's not cold right now though.
Oh.
It's about 70 right now. So I'm good.
Okay.
I can bear it until it gets about below 0.
All right.
I wish you luck.
Yeah, I'm a lot wimpier than you. I'm in a long sleeved shirt and sweatpants.
Yeah, I have layers on right now, and I'm indoors.
It'll come to that soon.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, the beginning of the summer when you guys were first recording for Ball Blast, you guys were recording in the stickiest and hottest of attics because you were that dedicated to getting the podcast off the ground. So I mean, it seems like it
Off
swings
the
both ways.
ground. Oh,
Yeah,
my
well done.
good. That's a bar.
Yeah,
Wow.
every like 10 minutes I'd have to like pause the podcast just to wipe my brow, like so it didn't ruin my mic. It was disgusting. But we made it to the other side, freezing my butt off now.
You all are just showing that you're dedicated to the craft. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Professionals.
That's how it was like 2 weeks ago when it was 95 degrees.
Right.
I'm sitting here just sweating like a madman and had to keep going inside and wiping my brow off because it's just constantly sweating all day.
We have comments in the so-called chat already, live on Periscope and YouTube. YouTube's kind of our mainstay because that's where all the peeps hang, but we're also on Periscope where you can, that's where most people are these days, or these hours of the day rather, is on Twitter. So Aaron B, he's about here every week. He says to the first pod guest that can truly pop the hood on cam. And he's talking to you, Scott. What can you do for your? Can you pop the hood?
No, I can't move. It'll ruin my whole setup.
I just can't get anything out of anyone tonight. I'm gonna go to the Ball Blast girls, and they're gonna give me a scene from Grease. I guarantee it.
We literally.
I've never seen the full movie.
Oh boy.
Unbelievable.
We're done.
Yeah,
we're done.
What is going on?
I know.
I didn't mean to do this.
You know the premise of Grease?
Yeah, I know that.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, we're fine. Totally normal. I'm like that dog sipping coffee right
Yes.
in a room on fire.
You know I don't
This
watch
is fine.
You don't watch
That's exactly
movies. It's not a movie, it's Grease.
Mm.
It's a musical.
If it's over
Oh my
30
God.
minutes, I'm not doing it.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable.
Netflix ruins people.
How about
Yeah.
Grease 2? At least Grease 2. You've had to have seen Grease 2.
I've seen that like 5 times. Yep.
I don't think I've seen Grease too.
I hope I haven't. I can't remember.
Generally
Okay, well, we'll try a segue here. Summer lovin'. All right. What is a player that you were summer loving, having a blast, and through 5 weeks of the season, you are still loving and having a blast, possibly a ball blast?
Ooh, look at you go. He's back.
Wow. Rochelle, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I thought you were going a different way with this question. So I had my guy that like totally broke my heart.
We like to flex on this pod.
Yeah.
You know who I'm loving on? I'm going a little bit deeper here. John Brown. I'm just obsessed with this dude. I have been all off season, and he's been pretty consistent. He hasn't given you too many stinkers. He's been a really consistent lover,
Hey.
Oh my.
And then his upcoming schedule after the bye is like unreal. He has Miami twice, I think Washington, Cleveland, like some really nice matchups for the passing game. So I'm excited for Josh Allen and John Brown.
That's a good one.
What about you?
My guy, it's got to be Derrick Henry, right? Like Derrick Henry was my boy all off season, and I was just fighting to the death with everyone telling them that, like, no, like we read the signals wrong last year. Like they were never promising us a true workhorse workload for Derrick Henry before. I was like, all the signs say that we read the stars wrong, and it's going to happen in 2019. Through 5 games, he's got 19 carries, 15, 17, 27, 20. Already have 5 touchdowns on the season. One of them receiving. I thought Derrick Henry had no hands, yo. But I'm not saying that Derrick Henry is Christian McCaffrey, but I'm saying he has been a very stable fantasy asset that has not totally pooped your teams.
Workhorse. He's a workhorse.
He's a workhorse. He's got some juicy matchups too. You got Denver, Los Angeles Chargers. What they allow? Just
I'm gonna go
180 rushing yards. We're gonna eat.
It's difficult to name a workhorse so far, and I think that Derrick Henry kind of at least fits that mold. So
He does. Give him some credit. He's got the broken tackles. He's He's getting things done. Buffalo, not the easiest of matchups. Jacksonville, not the easiest. I think he's going to continue to produce, and I think he's going to continue to see carries because it's not, like what else do you got? Deion Lewis, come on, not happening.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I think has been most I don't know if it's shocking, but what we didn't anticipate with Derrick Henry was the fact that he was going to be incredibly relevant regardless of game script.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just deciding, look, we're giving him the ball regardless. We don't care if we're down big, we don't care if we're up big, we don't care what the script is. Derrick Henry's going to touch the ball, and that's been good to see in the midst of Mariota being super disappointing. So yeah, that's a really good one.
All right.
Yeah, something just to stem on that Derrick Henry. I mean, one of the skills that I don't think gets enough credit right now in NFL in terms of running backs is the guys that can handle the 25 touches a week.
Talk about
we're
it.
seeing it with Leonard Fournette, and yeah, everyone says, well, Leonard Fournette's going to get hurt. You know what? There's probably a good likelihood that he's going to get banged up this season at some point. But until then, I mean, this is a skill that not a lot of guys have that can go out there and basically just give him the ball 20 plus times every single week and know that you know what you're going to get from him. And you see that with Fournette. I mean, he really doesn't ever come off the field. I never thought I would see that from him, even through 5 games. I mean, I never thought he'd hold up to that, but it looks like he may just do it. So I think that's a skill that doesn't really get talked about a lot. And there's a lot of running backs that produce, good numbers, but they're not getting it that way. They need explosive plays or they need receptions to do it. So I think that's something that Derrick Henry doesn't get enough credit for.
Yeah, he missed, I think on the season, I don't know what the percentage is. I'm guessing close to 99% of his career games he's been active for. They're not getting those 20 touches in all of them because he didn't see them last season. But hey, he's seeing them now. I love it. I'm sticking with him moving forward. I still think he's a great buy low on this season because I don't think anybody's he's just been consistent as hell, and I don't think anybody's still bought into him.
And for Dynasty, Henry was always one of those guys that was in that group of running backs that you want to be cautious of potentially holding through this season. But I think that my narrative on him has changed because I think that his limited skill set is going to be a turnoff for teams in free agency. I don't see, someone going out and paying him because of his perceived lack of being a good receiver. So I actually see him as a fairly safe asset that I think is probably going to come back to Tennessee. That is not going to be as coveted as you would think. We probably covet in terms of getting a big contract. So I actually think he's pretty insulated from a dynasty standpoint. I don't see them drafting somebody with a similar profile. They'll probably bring in somebody as a pass catcher, but I actually think he's a pretty safe running back going forward. And you can't say that about a lot of running backs right now.
That's that's an astute point because from a value perspective, you'd think that, and I don't even know that I even gave his upcoming free agency a ton of play in my head, but just like you were saying, he's, and especially with what he's proving now, with the fact that now all of a sudden he's game script proof and he's able to give you just enough in every aspect of the game to be viable, but not so much that they're probably going to be paying him in the offseason. If he comes back to Tennessee, it's just going to be more of the same, depending upon who they bring in at quarterback, because it's still Vrabel as the head coach. He's still going to want to run the ball and play really good defense. So maybe Derrick Henry's a lot safer than we anticipated. I like that. That's
and you know what? Like his lackluster performance. He had how much time as what should have been the running back one, and he just didn't make it happen. So, the fact that he's got a small sample size of that consistent production only helps Tennessee get him on a cheaper deal. Sorry, guys.
Our dogs make gusting nearly impossible.
Yeah, sorry.
It's so hard. It takes us 2 hours to record our podcast.
Yeah,
because they interrupt us so much, and we have to stop.
We're still happy to
we can't have that happen here. We can't stop the pod. We can't end the broadcast. Okay. Look, we have to keep going. We have to keep talking about Derrick Henry.
Baker. I think we jinxed Baker Mayfield, guys.
I think we jinxed our dog.
This is our fault.
Our puppy is such a terror, and I think that was our fault because we named him Baker.
Yeah.
No.
What?
In the meantime,
No.
grab us a beer since this is called the open bar. So
Hey.
Good call. Nice pivot.
Well,
Pumpkin.
yeah, great. Stave. Scott, do you have a player, or did you just want to piggyback on Derrick Henry, literally, because you could get on top of Derrick Henry and he could still just
He's
score
massive.
touchdowns?
You can carry you
He's a
off.
very large
we're
man.
still talking about Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Is that how long you went on for?
Yeah.
You're
No,
not going. Go ahead.
No, they got me.
Yeah, I'll go in I'll go in a.
Beast. I wish I had those tree trunks for legs. Come on.
No, you don't.
Ridiculous.
Or that pretty braid. I can't braid my hair like that. Beautiful.
Pretty
Man.
great.
Derrick Henry. Oh, one of our followers.
Stop talking about Derrick
Oh
Henry.
my God. No, I have one more shout out. One more shout out. One of our followers today sent me a GIF. He makes these GIFs by photoshopping heads onto bodies, and he made a GIF of me and Derrick Henry hugging. And
Aw.
it's so beautiful. And that's it.
That was it. That was a great story.
Derrick Henry.
The things that make our day.
It made my day.
And,
There
I
you
and
go.
nothing was ever the same, ever.
All right, I got to shout out Demarcus Robinson. And I'll say that just because I have an absolute obsession with just mining the very bottoms of dynasty rosters every single week. It's going through and trying. I mean, I sit here, J-Mike, in our Ohio Fantasy League, I'm putting in waiver claims today, and I'm going, do I want to drop Richie James for Scotty Miller? And I'm trying to sit here weighing, okay, which one has higher upside? You know, I love Scotty Miller, but he wasn't playing for a couple weeks. And now all of a sudden he's starting to get snaps. I'm envisioning he's the next Adam Humphries. And Richie James is the number 5 receiver on a team that can't figure out who their receivers are. So that's the kind of decision that I weigh every single week. But Demarcus Robinson was someone I've just been collecting. I think I was over 20 dynasty shares at one point, just waiting for these volatile receivers on the Chiefs to go down. And of course, the Tyreek Hill stuff happens, and then he gets injured in week 1, and then, Sammy Watkins can't hold up for more than a month. So Demarcus Robinson actually gave me a couple startable weeks. And so I got to shout that one out as a hit for the summer, and someone that I'm kind of still on, because there's going to be one of the starters, it seems like, is going to be constantly volatile in that offense. So Demarcus Robinson, that's mine.
So is Demarcus Robinson a guy, like, obviously the hype is going to fade with Tyreek Hill returning. Is he somebody that you're making offers for at this point to get him on your roster as a long-term stash? Are you just giving him like the salute for the Tyreek Hill fill-in?
So I had to actually sell some Demarcus Robinson shares because I had so many. So I can't buy any right now, but I'd still recommend it. He's going to be a free agent too. Was a good prospect from Florida and really just never got his opportunity. I can see him being a player that ends up getting a better opportunity after next season somewhere else. But he obviously has a rapport with Patrick Mahomes. And if you want to hold the 4th receiver in an offense, that's the one you want to hold it in. I mean, we've seen basically whoever's on the field, regardless of who the 3 receivers are, can have a massive game at any point. So that was the narrative behind him. But if you guys remember, he was the one. He actually caught the first pass from Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. I mean, those guys they were lockstep in the preseason when Mahomes was a rookie. Robinson was his guy. And he just really never, he was mixed in with, he was getting the 4th, he was 4th in snaps behind Chris Conley. And then when Conley left, he essentially became the number 3. And then the Hardman draft kind of muddied it up a little bit, but still, I mean, he doesn't play the same role as Hardman. So I think he's someone that still keep on your roster, but I would buy it when they get healthy. Essentially, I still think he's going to outsnap Hardman because he plays a different role.
And Watkins stay healthy ever, and he's already had 2 injuries. So I think he gets on the field more often than Hardman if Tyreek comes back and then Watkins is hurt.
Now listen, real quick, and Scott, you can keep going. I just need to let you guys know of a rule on the show. There's only so much Sammy Watkins slander that I can take.
I love him. I love him.
Yes, I do too. And I've had way too many podcasts today, taking victory laps and talking over his grave, and I've not appreciated it. So I'm a little sensitive right now. It's been a long day. So if we can chill with the, no, I'm just kidding. Anywho, Scott, you were saying.
I have Watkins in way too many leagues. I need him to stay healthy, but
Come on, talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's just from a prospect himself, I don't think this would be a player that would necessarily stand out amongst others, but the situation obviously props him up. It's kind of similar, like Josh Reynolds. It looks like he's going to get an opportunity now with Cooks down. Very similar situation, but I don't think the offense props him up nearly as much as the Chiefs would prop up Demarcus Robinson. So that was kind of the narrative why you'd want to hold so many shares of him versus, the fourth receiver on another offense. But I mean, I think he's a good player, and I think he has a future somewhere else after he leaves Kansas City. And he's done enough this year to show that, he can play. So
I love Matt Williams' comment. Yes, where did Scott find the Blair Witch filter for his webcam?
and that's all I got.
That's a pretty good one.
I've done the filter things. I could really use a redness remover.
Redness remover, maybe some sepia.
Just a fake makeup filter.
Snapchat, baby. Oh my God, Snapchat. I am beautiful on Snapchat. I like take a selfie on Snapchat, and I'm like, damn, girl. Like, okay.
The princess filter is like no other.
I look like a princess for sure.
That's way too many people. That's way too many people's profile pictures. It's like stars and stuff hanging around their heads. Like, what are y'all?
Yep.
I know that's not a real butterfly hovering around your head. Why are you lying right now?
No, that's the
It's 50 degrees outside.
That's being a catfish. That's being a catfish.
There are so many guys that are like, "What? You look nothing like your picture." And I'm like, "Did you expect all the daisies and crap fluttering around your head? Like, what did you think was gonna happen?" Like,
it takes away all the blemishes.
Perfection. You look perfect, and then like 2 hours later, I'll be on my phone and I'll accidentally open up the regular camera, and I'm like, "Ah!"
Yeah. It has you thinking for a second that you're prettier than you really are, and I'm like, "Oh shoot." When you get back to the regular camera,
the gluten-free version.
Where my butterflies at? Where my crown at? I mean, dang. Gabe, you never gave us your summer loving. Who's killing it right now? I've got mine locked and loaded in the chamber, by the way.
Yeah, well, maybe you ought to go since I didn't think I thought I could just host and not answer questions.
I thought the unanimous answer is Derrick Henry.
I think everyone. Go ahead, J. Mike. I'll think of one real quick.
We liked it. Well, I like the answer. Great answer, Kate. But no, that is not unanimous. Mine is we wanted to lay him to rest, and Trubisky tried to bury my guy, but Allen Robinson, don't look now. Wide receiver 1, Allen Robinson, not 1 overall, but he's top 12 right now. And if Chase Daniel can continue to just throw it in his general vicinity, life is going to be really good. So I'm here for all the Allen Robinson love right now. He's 42 targets on the year, 31 catches, and lots of room to grow as it pertains to just getting him the freaking ball because he's really stinking good. So hopefully Nagy can stop trying to act like he's smarter and better than each and every person and coach and mind that's ever been a part of the game. And if we can focus on A-Rod being a focal point of the offense and stop screwing around, no matter who's back there, because we saw even Trubisky against the Packers defense, which low key, the Packers defense is giving it up to a whole lot of wide receivers this year, low key. But the fact that Allen Robinson can come out and be really good in just about any situation, the fact that last season was not an aberration, it was the fact that Trubisky kept overthrowing and sailing balls left and right. Allen Robinson looks good, guys. He looks back to being what I had hoped he'd become after he got out of Jacksonville, sadly, after he got over the knee injury. Allen Robinson's here, and I think that he's an asset that is still probably slept on in a lot of places. So if you can get him on the low, here's hoping that Trubisky is supplanted somehow by, I don't know, Gardner Minshew, maybe. Hello. So something like that in the coming days. That'd be great.
Poor Allen Robinson had to play with Blake Bortles and now Mitch Trubisky and Chase Daniel. Like,
oh my God,
what would happen if you played?
Mahomes.
Yeah, like what if you played with Patrick Mahomes or just even a middle of the pack quarterback like a Matthew Stafford? Like, how good would Allen Robinson be?
He looks incredible. So healthy.
So healthy. Come on.
Feels bad, man.
That was a miss by me. by far. Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I don't think I gave him enough credit, just maybe that he wasn't. I mean, you got to talk about the quarterback play, first of all, but also, like, some guys, it just takes them a little while to trust that knee to be able to go up and make some of those big plays that they're necessarily capable of. And maybe that was just part of Allen Robinson's, overall healing process. I don't know, but he looks healthy. He's ranked 31 amongst wide receivers in target accuracy from his quarterback. And what'd you say, J. Mike? Where's he ranked? 11?
He's 13th so far. Yeah, 13th.
13
in PPR leagues. Yep.
That's beautiful. I love it.
It almost feels in Dynasty. It almost feels like it. You want to say that it caps, his potential just because of his tandem, but he's just so good. How can you lay off of it?
Last. Are there any Chicago fans here?
No.
Okay.
There are Anthony Miller fans here though, so
there are at least one of those. Yeah.
At least one of those. Yeah. I think that is certainly capped, J. Mike, and you have to be concerned about the QB play.
That was the thing though. We knew that if you were going to be buying in on Chicago being an offense that could take a step forward and be really fun to watch, like we saw with the Chiefs kind of morph into something different last season. We knew that if we were going to believe in Nagy, if we were going to believe in all these weapons that were coming back, David Montgomery being injected into the system, we knew that we had to trust Trubisky if we truly believed in the potential of the offense, and believing in him was a scary proposition from the jump. And obviously he has proved many of the naysayers correct thus far. Hopefully when he gets healthy, he can, I don't even know what at this point, but just throw Allen Robinson the ball. At the end of the day, I don't care what you do, get Allen the ball.
We can all agree that watching Matt Nagy call a game is the worst experience known to man, right? We agree.
It is
drives me crazy. Drives me crazy.
It's
only worse is Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator, not the tight end.
Although Greg Olsen himself is not been too hot the last 2 weeks, but we'll forgive him. Maybe it's time for Ian Thomas. I don't know.
Hey.
Ian Thomas
my
is
doppelganger, my doppelganger in the chat, my twin J Mike dropped a fantastic question on us real quick. OBJ or Allen Robinson rest of season?
Oh, it's Allen
Robinson. It's Allen Robinson. I was very low on OBJ though this whole offseason. Anyone who expected him to join a new team in a new city in a new system and kill it right off the bat was just delusional. Wide receivers don't do that. Like it's
real quick, one more time. What's your dog's name?
Baker.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that's Baker's fault. I think the connection between them will be great next year. But I've been saying that all offseason. Like, don't be excited about OBJ. I didn't take him in anything. That was not going to be good. But I also was low on Allen Robinson. But right now, give me Allen Robinson for this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Browns really have to focus on fixing their offensive line. If they're going to give OBJ time to get open and run the routes that God has designed him to run, I think they've got to fix that offensive line. He's not doing anything as long as Baker's running for his life. It's just not happening.
I usually find success when Baker gets rid of the ball quicker, and that with the play action or just a quicker throw or just letting things develop and he stays in the pocket or whatever. It always seemed like that's when an OBJ play would happen. And also to the degree that OBJ had a few drops.
He did. His hands are looking.
Yeah.
He's still
give Cleveland a left tackle, and I think OBJ already gets better. They just need to go do whatever they can to go get Trent Williams, and I think that changes the whole team. I think that makes them go from a playoff team to a 6-10 team. From a 6-10 team to a playoff team.
Yeah, that's that math there.
The Scott, where did you land with that as it pertains to OBJ versus A-Rob?
Oh, he's sleazing right now. Those eyes, baby. I can't trust that. There he is. Now he's just staring us down.
Oh, sorry.
He heard us.
No, sorry, cut out. See, okay, so I've been listening to what you guys are saying, and all I can say is this. I think that the Browns have to completely revamp what they're trying to do and get the ball to Mayfield's hands a lot quicker. I mean, where are the bubble screens to Odell? I haven't seen one that's been success. Maybe it's just not in the offense yet. I don't know, but I haven't seen one that's successful. But I look at Beckham and I see their playoff schedule, and I believe it's Bengals, Ravens, Cardinals, or something like that. I mean, it's just absolutely juicy. So rest of the season, I would say probably Robinson, but who's going to win your league if you get to the playoffs? That's hard to ignore that, especially, I mean, I'm not a Browns fan, but I mean, is there a way they don't go 5-1 in the AFC North, possibly 6-0? I mean, who's going to beat them?
That's a fair question. I mean, we did just bring them to overtime, and the only reason we lost is because of Juju fumble, really, and with our third string quarterback. So, you're talking about Cleveland. Sorry,
You're so desperate.
I am very.
Oh my God.
By this,
I guess I just look at it like, I mean, they could legitimately go 9-7 or 8-8, but they could go 6-0 in the division.
Yeah, no, they could. The division's looking like garbage right now.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Ravens beat them the next time, but they could definitely go 5-1.
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be in Cleveland, so you never know. But I mean, that's the conundrum with the Browns is like everything's doom and gloom, like that they're done for. But I mean, I just don't see a way that they're not right in the thick of the North race, regardless of what happens. But yeah, I mean, obviously they have issues to fix. But I would say Odell may win your league. A-Rob will outproduce him rest of the season, but Odell may be the one that wins your league if you get to the playoffs.
I mean, that gives him plenty of time to gain that rapport and maybe make that trade for Trent Williams. It gets like you need somebody else on your line to make sure your quarterback isn't going to be severely injured by the second half of the season. He's never going to make it to your fantasy playoff if they keep tackling him the way that they are. It's not working.
Nope.
Speaking of trades, and major shout out to the chat. If you're listening to this in podcast form, we greatly appreciate you. But also keep in mind, the fun does not simply stop or start with the podcast. We've got the live show here. Gabe has been able to somehow MacGyver his way into getting us both simulcasting on YouTube as well as Periscope, which is where apparently all the kids are, and they say that it's lit, whatever that means. But speaking of trades, one of our good friends here, Aaron Bogan, he's up in Maine. What up, AB? He was talking about, or basically throwing out, hey, what does it look like for AJ Green and Tyler Eifert for first? He said, do you think that New England could pull that off? And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, where is this even coming from? And apparently, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but he was saying, and again, boom. Talk up here is that the Pats are clearing room for a wide receiver tight end. So the targets that he's heard of are AJ Green and Emmanuel Sanders. Could you imagine AJ Green once he gets healthy? Oh my gosh.
They keep his health.
I don't
Or
think
even either one.
caring to get healthy right now. Why would you want to rush back to go back to that?
But if he gets to go to
the Pats, I'm going to guess his rehab speeds right along.
Yeah.
I'll go even further. AJ
He's
Green
playing
is
Sunday.
healthy right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He'd be playing Sunday if he got traded today.
It's been 10 weeks since. Yeah, it's been 10 weeks since he got hurt, and you know, there was a report that he was running after like week 2. So that doesn't necessarily mean he can play football on Sunday, but it means enough to where he'd have to clear a physical to pass a trade. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe he's milking it a little bit. I mean, I'm a Bengals fan. I have seen no reason why he would want to step foot on that team for that team unless he gets another contract, which is not going to happen. So I don't think he ever plays another down for the Bengals at this point.
Yeah. Why would you?
No. I mean, it's a shame because it's probably one of the best ambassadors that the franchise has ever had. I mean, almost a absolute class act guy off the field.
I think he plays if they would just pay him. If they would give him the extension, I think he would play. I just think there's no reason to play if they're not going to pay you and you know
Does he
risk
take
further
less
injury.
money for New England?
That the problem is, I don't think the Bengals necessarily it would be a smart move for them to pay him. I mean, he has not put together even anything close to a full season since 2015. So, I mean, he hasn't really done anything to warrant to say, he deserves to be a top 5 paid receiver at this point. And if they're going to rebuild, I can see them just moving on.
I find so let me ask you guys this. If you had to, we hold your feet to the fire. How does the AJ Green story in Cincinnati end? Does it end with him being traded? Do you think that Mike Brown is just going to be so stuck in his ways to just have him stay in Cincinnati for the next year? And if that's the case, what do we, how do we spin this forward into actual like actionable advice as to what to do with AJ Green? Because I think that at 31 with his trick foot, sadly, I still think that he probably has something to give in a good situation, but I don't know how to maneuver that in my leagues. Ooh, everybody's scared of that one.
Mm-hmm. We're wrangling the dogs.
Who let the dogs out? Michelle did. Calm down, Michelle.
So, I mean, I'll give you a take on just kind of what I would do with AJ Green in Dynasty. I mean, if you have him in Dynasty leagues, I think he's not a player that I would buy because it doesn't matter his situation. There's never going to be a situation where his value necessarily goes up. It's probably just going to get to a point where if he can show that he's healthy over the next year or two, that it levels off. Kind of like if you look at values on like Julian Edelman or Larry Fitzgerald, there was a point where basically it leveled off and it never got any higher. But everyone always would reach for those players like in a startup draft because, they know they're going to get guaranteed production. So I think that's the best case scenario for AJ Green in Dynasty. So I was selling him in the off season, sold a couple shares, sold one for Curtis Samuel, sold another one for Christian Kirk. That just getting out based on that. And there's been so many receivers this year that have produced, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 weeks that it's almost like, what's the point of taking on a guy that's 31 years old when you can swap him out for somebody that has basically the same weekly floor, just doesn't have the upside?
It's fair.
Yeah, I have no desire to own AJ Green in anything. Never did lately. And what has he done for us in the last few years? Nothing.
I mean, the only justification to hold him would be, he goes to the Patriots. He's gonna get the value bump just based on people's hype, but that's really league dependent. You'd have to find somebody in your league that's really buying in, like the people that sold Antonio Brown as soon as he went to the Patriots. Boom, his value went up for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I think you'd see that spike. I mean, you'd have to sell right away, right? If he does get traded, signed anywhere other than the Bengals, like that's got to be your window to sell, right? Or do you just ride out and see what happens?
Yeah, I think you probably have to take offers right away, see what you can get. I mean, to just be comfortable with knowing that he's a player that you have to sell because anytime he takes the field, he could get hurt again.
If it's Dynasty, are you okay with taking a second for AJ Green?
I think you can get more.
Yeah, okay.
With the Patriots thing, I would hold off. If he signs with the Patriots, I think you can get a lot more for AJ Green.
Okay.
If I couldn't get a first, what I'd be looking to do is I would take a second, but I'd also want you to throw in somebody like Dante Pettis or James Washington or someone like that hasn't necessarily had a breakout, but I still think has, maybe a 20-25% hit rate to get to that level that you expected. So I'd want something on top of it just to hedge my bets a little bit. I wouldn't take a second straight up.
Yeah, because I don't think you can get the Kirk or Samuel at this point.
No,
like you were saying. So you have to bump it down to the Pettis range, I guess. What other wide receivers? Do we have ADP anywhere? Is it available yet in October, J Mike? Or can we just think of some players off the top here?
I've got one right now that
okay.
that was gonna transition into the next question. But that was from the chat, but we'll linger here a moment.
Richie James?
No,
not that name from the chat. Oh,
okay. What about AJ Green versus DJ Chark?
I was hoping you'd say that.
I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take two AJ Greens for one DJ Chark.
Whoa.
This is where you need to take the name off the jersey and, rethink think your whole your whole process there with the names, with the production, it's DJ Shark. He's so much younger. He's showing you that he can be dominant. I think he's a breakout. I would take Shark over Green for sure.
Wow.
Well,
Landmark moment.
I think something else you got to consider is like, what's the format of your league? If you're playing in one of these leagues where, like J Mike, you've seen it, where you start 6 or 7 flexes. I mean, in those leagues where you can start so many different receivers, the net you can cast from a receiver standpoint. I mean, this year, look how many receivers have produced big weeks. I mean, after even just through 3 weeks, there were 32 receivers that posted a wide receiver 1 week, and that's out of 36 potential wide receiver 1 weeks. I mean, so it's all over the map. So if I can get, basically I want to build my teams in those type of leagues. I just want the young guys. So I'm definitely willing to swap out AJ Green with really anybody that's in the same range, even if they haven't had their quote unquote breakout. Give me someone like Paris Campbell or JJR Sega Whiteside and give me a little bit on top of it. I mean, I'm making those kind of deals because in any given week, if they get opportunity, these receivers' values can just completely spike. I mean, look at Terry McLaurin. Look at DJ Chark. I mean, these guys were dart throws in the summer. No one wanted them, and now they're worth a first round or more in Dynasty.
Yeah, and with Chark, I feel like people might be nervous about if Nick Foles ever comes back. But we did see Chark get that one long touchdown in the one half that Nick Foles actually played. So I think he was going to break out either way with Foles or Minshew. So I would feel good about Chark moving forward.
Michelle with the premier transition. Girl, how you know? Kyle LeBrecq here. What up, Kyle? My big brother over at the Dynasty Dummies. I'm late to the party. Have you already talked about Minshew? Is Foles a locked-in bench warmer at this point? The 80-some-odd million bench man. Let's go.
I get that he's all exciting for fantasy and he's doing all right, but it's not like the Jags are like consistently winning. I still think they put back Nick Foles.
But they're exciting.
Don't you think he's exciting as Foles too? Or no?
Yes, probably so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Minshew likes to, be funny and be crazy, but sometimes you need a win too. We see that with Baker. People are already getting sick of his act. So as soon as Minshew loses a couple more games, no one's going to think Minshew is funny anymore.
I think Minshew's playing better than Baker ever has in a 4 to 5 game stretch, however you want to call it.
I just rolled my eyes so hard. Baker changed a franchise. Changed a what were they at that point? 0-18, 0-19, like together from 2 years, and he turned them into a franchise that were watchable and fun. Baker,
no, I agree from a business standpoint and just the franchise standpoint that it's complete turnaround. But as far as wins go and as far as how the QBs are playing, I think Minshew might have a better 5-game stretch than Baker has at all in the last
Minshew winning
16 games. Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Sure.
I think the thing with Minshew is that the Jaguars are a fan base that has just been searching for an identity for a long time. And this is a guy that they've seemingly rallied around. I think it's going to be really hard to pull him out of the lineup unless he completely tanks it in the next couple weeks. I see a hard time them going away from him. I think the fan base has embraced him in a way that they'll never embrace Nick Foles. So there's always going to be that level of tension there if Foles gets the job back despite his contract.
He's going to lose to the Saints. Like, there's no shot. Do you think there's a shot? It's not because of Minshew. It's because
I do think there's a shot. Much like there was a shot that the Texans were competing with the Saints in week 1 with a Drew Brees, and the Jags kept tight with the Texans too. I mean,
yeah, I want to compare Minshew to Deshaun Watson. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They had pretty equal games when they played. Deshaun didn't show much.
Like Minshew beat the Titans and the Broncos. I just would relax a little bit. That's all I'm saying about the Minshew hype.
I mean, I think he's.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think regardless of whether or not they go back to Foles, even if you have Gardner Minshew on your bench as your backup, he's got to be one of the best damn backups in the league. So I feel like you've got to, as a Jags fan, regardless, be super pumped that regardless of who you have in under center, you've got a guy who can sling the rock.
And I think, and you know what, you're right, Michelle, as far as the competition, it hasn't been all that impressive. The Titans, like on paper, they don't seem impressive, but they've had like these weird games where they look good and then they just look awful, whatever. But I do think the Saints could be, you know, some sort of test to see if Minshew plays well and is able to compete, then you might be able to consider like, oh, they will be looking at him come Foles time. You know, even he might lose, but if he can compete and stay in the game, I think that'd be huge.
I'm rooting for the kid. I just think people are getting too high on him because of the personality, you know, and he does put together a couple good drives a game, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's a game changer. And he's 2-3. Like, let's relax. It's not like the Jags are doing that well with him. So I think Foles can get his job back pretty quickly once he's healthy.
Yeah.
So navigating Minshew for Superflex, I mean, what are you doing if you have him? Because obviously you've basically dropped into a quarterback that you can start every week that has produced base. I mean, I think he's a quarterback one so far, isn't he? I think he's top 10 quarterback in some formats. I know that.
Yeah, he's doing well in fantasy for sure.
So, I mean, what are you doing
number
in
11 on the season?
And not like Bortles QB1, like better QB1.
So, I mean, what do you do with him in Superflex? Because I saw him go for a first rounder. I sold all of my shares just because I obviously wasn't requiring him to start. And I always like to cash out when players have big booms like this where you can get something for their value. But I almost look back at it and say, if I would have waited a couple weeks, boom. I mean, yeah, Ray just asking this question, second and third rounder for Minshew. I don't think I can accept that, even regardless of the format. If it's a super flex league, I don't think I can accept that. I would hold out for a little bit more unless that's like a guaranteed 201.
See,
that'd be like the fringe.
Second, I would accept that 1 second because he could lose his job. And we have such a small sample size. And it's not like he's, blowing out the world with like Patrick Mahomes here. So I would sell him for that. You want it? Is Nick Foles supposed to come back anytime soon? Like, what's his timetable here?
It's week 11.
Week 11.
Yeah, week 11, he's eligible.
So you still got a while.
I think it also depends on what is your depth.
Yeah, you gotta
the quarterback position. If you need a quarterback, no, you can't sell him.
Yeah, you can't sell him if he's your only second quarterback. And then also, what's your record? I guess if you were like 0-5 right now, I think he'd be a good sell. But it's all going to depend on your situation.
I mean, I've sold a couple Kyle Allen shares for second rounders. So I see that. I mean, Kyle Allen's a fraud. He's obviously not an NFL quarterback. He's a decent backup, but that's it. I mean, he has no future in terms of a starter unless there's another injury, which is possible.
Cam Newton owner or something that was desperate?
No, this was just a team that needs a quarterback. And I think the other reason I brought this up is because I'm seeing this in some of my leagues where these teams that they had Roethlisberger or they had Breeze or they had Foles, if they're 0-5 or 1-4, they're not paying up to get Kyle Allen or Gardner Minshew from you. They're basically looking at it and saying, well, I'm just going to tank. They're more apt to do that than offer you, a premium price. So I guess in that regard, I can see where you would take the second and third because that may be the best offer you ever get because a lot of the teams just say, I'm not even going to be willing to buy someone like that.
I think that's a fantastic offer because I don't know if we are even talking about Minshew at this time next year. I don't even know if he's on our train of thought. Like, he could be nothing.
Could be Nick Mullins. Saw the same thing last year from Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that it always comes back to when it comes to backup quarterbacks is that we always anticipate that there's going to be an expiration date. There's a time when the milk's gone bad in the words of Dave Chappelle. The milk's going to go bad, and you don't want to be left holding the carton of spoiled milk, right? So while you have this asset that is absolutely making waves left and right, and this is, I think, what we talked with Two Drink about, Gabe, a couple weeks ago when he was on, is that, the value of a starting quarterback in a super flex league is essentially like gold. Just depending upon who it is, unless it's just, I don't know, and maybe it's just everybody at this point, but the fact that Gardner Minshew has unlocked DJ Chark, the fact that the offense in Jacksonville looks nothing like it ever has since, I don't know, Mark Brunell. I don't know if you want to toss in a Byron Leftwich year, maybe, I don't know. But the fact that Gardner Minshew's making waves with the group that they have, and we even saw Dede Westbrook came back to life this last week. This could be a really exciting offense that could get actually points popping off week after week. And the fact that Nick Foles got hurt while throwing a touchdown pass, like that's not bad either, right? So whomever comes in, we see that the offense can be at least functional. And so if Nick Foles comes in and hopefully continues that, you've got to think that Minshew may resurface somewhere, whether that's in Jacksonville or elsewhere. But regardless, if I'm trying to put my Jags bias to the side, I'm probably wanting to move him, but I only want to move him, I think, if I'm getting a first or somewhere close to a first. Like I need I don't know, maybe 2 seconds. I can probably do that and be okay with it. The second and third is probably, I don't know, it probably would be okay, but I want to feel like if I'm moving him, and Ray said in the chat, his other two quarterbacks were Watson and Dak. So you're looking real nice, with your starters there. Man, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. But why has Minshew fumbled the ball 7 times? Can we talk about that?
Gosh.
What is going on? I mean, you can't be a starting quarterback if you fumble the ball 7 times in 5 games?
How many does Winston have in his best moments in the last few years? He's probably pretty close to that. Yeah.
And we saw his job get tried to take away, but Fitzpatrick wasn't any better at keeping the ball on his offense. So
it's fascinating to try to decipher this from a fantasy standpoint, and then also trying to predict what do the NFL teams do, because they're obviously looking at it completely differently. I mean, we're looking at it as in Superflex, a quarterback is insulated as long as they're a starter, but as soon as they're not a starter anymore, boom, the bottom can fall out of it. And especially if they're not a starter with any sort of capital or any sort of past, being stuck with guys like Andy Dalton or Marcus Mariota, like those kind of guys at the end of this year, their value is simply being propped up right now because they're a starting quarterback. As soon as they lose that, they basically lose all of their value in a Superflex dynasty league. So I try to read these situations as what's the best option for the team versus the fantasy points that they're producing. Because like Teddy Bridgewater is another one. You could say Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the future quarterback of the Saints, but he's also going to be a free agent. So, do they wait and, just wait for him to see what happens with Breeze, or do they sign him to a deal like Brissett got and they lock him in? Did they see enough in these, 4 or 5 starts that he gets that they lock him up to be their future? That would completely change his value in a Superflex league. I mean, that's just another one that I'm kind of trying to figure out, because if you guess right, I think when Breeze comes back, you can probably get a really good deal on Bridgewater, and in a year flip him for a lot more than what you bought him for.
I agree with you. It's just taking the risk. If you're following him and you feel like he has an honest chance to win the starting job and not give it back to Foles, then he's definitely worth holding on to and not selling him. But if you think Foles will get his job back, then I guess it's just what way do you believe? That's all. Yeah. But either one of us could easily be right. No doubt.
I think it is an obvious sell, though. I mean, like, just bottom line. I mean, no matter what, like, whether he keeps the job for the rest of the year or not, like, you got to wonder what happens next year with that contract that Foles has. I mean, you imagine that Foles will at least have one more start in Jacksonville. And so, I mean, if you're comfortable at quarterback, I mean, it just seems like an easy sell. First round pick when you paid pennies, like, just massive ROI.
Man, good stuff. Who knew all this Jacksonville love would show up today? I was not ready for this. This makes my heart happy. Gabe, what else do you want to hit on tonight? I feel like the chat said so much I can't even keep up with going back through. I was trying to find something else.
Really? They talked about
Yep.
Cam, didn't they? Is Cam dead?
That might be the case. Yeah,
He shed the walking boot, didn't he? Or
Yeah.
something? What did he?
Cam will be great once he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's a good
Is it this year?
Go buy low, especially in a super flex. If anyone's willing to sell, go.
I
go do that.
bought low though this year.
Yeah, but he got hurt. I mean, it's
I
not.
know, but
Ben
like,
Roethlisberger got hurt too. Are you blaming him? Like Cam got hurt the
No,
preseason game.
it's like it's more or less the fact that I don't think we see a lot of transparency with Cam Newton's injuries. I mean, he had that injury. What was it, week 3 of the preseason, and we saw them just shove it under the rug. They weren't transparent about the shoulder injury last season. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
I don't think there's any rush for him to come back. They're still winning, so until they lose a couple games, then there's no rush for Cam to come back. I think once he does come back, he's fully healthy, and it'll be his Cam self. So, there's a lot of people that are very nervous that you can go get him for very cheap.
Cam he relies so much on his.
I don't care for him in a one quarterback. Like, in a redraft one quarterback, he should be on waivers. Nobody should be dealing with that. But in a dynasty, especially Superflex, I would go see what he costs.
I mean, I think he's worth the inquiry, but I also think that for a guy who's got the injury,
Go sell Minshew for Cam.
I would do that.
I think you're onto something. I think the move to
Might
get
be.
Cam is to take someone like, if you have a desperate team that's holding Cam and they only have one quarterback and maybe they're coming up to a player that's on a bye. I mean, I'm willing to overpay to get out of someone like Andy Dalton or Marcus Mariota or even like Mitchell Trubisky if he comes back after his bye. I'm willing to get out of a player like that, even giving a little bit on top of it. And I would take Cam Newton back if that's the best, type of deal that I can get. If I can basically shed one of those other players that I think is more volatile in terms of a long-term value, I'll worry about Cam Newton next year because I do think he's going to come back. Whether he's going to give you anything close to what he gave you before the rest of this season, I don't know. But I'm not scared about, next year he's just going to have no value. Where if I'm sitting on like Marcus Mariota or Andy Dalton, those are the two that keep coming to my mind. If I'm sitting on one of those two guys, there's no guarantee that they're a starter next year.
I think that's a good example of somebody that I would be willing to move on for.
If you didn't
move
sell
on
Marcus
from.
Mariota after last week, then you were doing it wrong.
He's actually got a pretty decent schedule coming up. I actually can see him having a couple more good games. Hopefully there's a buyer. But yeah,
I would sell him to you. Yeah.
I don't want him. I got too many shares already.
I think he's the kind of guy. He's a good example of somebody that I would want to upgrade from. But at the same time, I'm so worried about Cam. I don't like. I'm so sick of dealing with this, with the shoulder and the I don't know. I think Ron Rivera is an ass. Just what? No, it just the whole situation surrounding Cam and their attitude towards Cam, it stresses me out. And if they've got a quarterback behind him who's winning games, I mean, Cam, 8 straight losses, was it?
There's a really good comment in here from Kyle Lebrecht. He said, I have an awful feeling that Cam could go the luck route sooner rather than later. And watching his face and his attitude,
dejected.
He looks like he just doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want to play hurt. That's for sure. So if his body keeps breaking down, I don't think he's having fun out there when his body's breaking down. So I could see him pulling the luck route.
He looked absolutely miserable.
So that is something you'd have to worry about.
Yeah.
Especially with that speckled bonnet he's been rocking lately. Like, that's not okay.
Tell me that's not.
I think he can
crisis.
get into modeling after football, and he'd make way more money. He should go do that now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got something ready after football.
He's a handsome dude, and
Yeah.
he clearly loves fashion. So right up his alley.
Michelle, I think you should. I represent you to at him on Twitter
To tell him to go. No, I need him to come back to football. I own him in too many things.
Just say why male models. Why male models?
It's just honestly the hat that bugs me about Cam. That's my biggest concern about Cam moving forward. It's definitely the hat situation. But for real though, I think that he's definitely a risky move. But I mean, if I have to overpay and I'm decently okay at quarterback, I don't want to touch.
Uh-oh. Somebody got hijacked.
Yep, someone got ball blasted.
Someone pulled the mic out.
There they are.
Oh, hey.
Thought y'all might have got ransacked or something. What was going on?
pretty much it.
Dog took over.
Yeah, he's 90 pounds and 9 months old, so it's fun.
Did that really happen? Did the
Yeah.
dog just
No,
swipe
it
the
literally just happened. Yeah.
Take over.
Amazing.
So what do you have to add? What do you have to add to Cam to get Jacoby Brissett?
Ooh.
Because
Jacoby is going to still be the starter next year, right? Like, I don't think they need a.
yeah, he's locked.
I think he's. I honestly, I feel better. I feel much better with Jacoby.
And Jacoby's
Brissett.
been good. Jacoby's been good,
He
and
looks
for
good.
not only for the Colts, but in fantasy, he's been good.
This week.
Do you think if you found the right owner, you could even start with just trying to do the swap straight up?
I think you have to wait
You
for
don't
him
think so?
to come back healthy to
Okay.
do that. Yeah. Once he comes back healthy, there's going to be a big trade market for him there. They're going to be so pumped for him. And you either have to decide, is he going to come back to his old Cam self or is he going to struggle? And that's the decision you're going to have to make and decide whether you should trade him or not or go trade for him.
But like from a football standpoint, are we all in agreement that we're a little bit worried about Cam?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the fact that what's been nice to see, which has been somewhat frustrating with Cam, and I know he wasn't right to start the year, but the fact that Kyle Allen at the very least has DJ Moore relevant makes me happy.
Mhm.
At the very least, I think Curtis Samuel's still wide receiver 40 something right now, but DJ Moore right on the outside of wide receiver 2 right now. So with room to grow, if Christian McCaffrey can take his cape off and chill out, sometimes it would be great for everyone too. But I love McCaffrey though, so I love it. Keep doing your thing, CMC.
Yeah. Owning Christian McCaffrey is the most fun thing ever.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's so good. He's so good. And getting all the touches too, which is fun. Real quick, Gabe, I want to run through just kind of where we stand 5 weeks into the season. I want to name some names of players all over the place in terms of their position, where they are for the season, and are we basically trying to buy into where basically they're going to be coming up, or do we think like, you know what, I'm hands off, I'm good, no thanks. Does that make sense to everybody?
Dynasty.
I know I was super clear and concise with that explanation because it was well thought out. I've been thinking about that all day long, and it was just something I get it. Yep, great, awesome. Your wide receiver A or wide receiver 1, depending upon if you watched last week's show. In all of Dynasty, one Chris Godwin in PPR. He's leading the way. So right now, Chris Godwin. Do we think that Chris Godwin has the makings? Actually, I'm gonna couple this. Chris Godwin and fantasy's number 3 wide receiver right now, Cooper Kupp. Do either of them have a legitimate shot at finishing top 5 at the position?
I think both do, but I think Cooper Kupp has a legitimate chance finishing top 1, like being the overall one.
Oh God.
League leader in targets right now,
Believe it.
Cooper Kupp at 63. Second behind him is Michael Thomas at 55 at the wide receiver position. Cooper Kupp has 63 targets. I think he had 17 last week.
He's always wide open. It's not gonna end. He's wide open, and Goff loves him, and he's the main touchdown guy in that team, and a good offense that I think only gets better as the year goes on. They're actually sluggish right now. Like, they're a struggling offense, and Cooper Kupp is still going off. I love both of them, but I think if I had a bet on one to end higher, it would be Cooper Kupp. But
I do think also it depends on, like, this might be sort of counter to your point. I think that what makes him so valuable as a target monster is the fact that Jared Goff is not playing very well. Like, he has a safety blanket in Cooper Kupp. If they start to execute that offense the way that they would intend to, and McVay wants to plan out the offense, he doesn't just want Goff to go to Cooper Kupp 50 times because he thinks that's the safest play. He wants to find the open holes. He wants to manipulate the defense to get wide receivers open and target the best guy on his route. And I don't think it's always Cooper Kupp. I think it's usually Cooper Kupp, but I do just think that if the offense gets back on track and in more of a rhythm, we might see a little bit of regression for Cooper Kupp. But if they're in the current state that they are right now, he's definitely a candidate for top 5.
Okay. Gabe, you have any words about Cooper Kupp, since I know that he's your favorite player in all of Dynasty? Yes, no, maybe? Nope. All right. Gosh.
Is that Baker?
That's Baker.
Hi, Baker.
You know what? Can't hate
Baker
Baker.
boy.
My goodness.
We already named an episode Kuplick Apology, J. Mike, and I think that did it justice. So we get it. We get it,
Okay.
Cooper.
I just wasn't sure if you were on board with the Kuplick apology, because I made that. I didn't know if you were, wanting to bandwagon that a little bit, or if you had any words, because you didn't actually apologize in that instance.
Run the tape back. Run the tape back.
Okay. I don't have time for that right now.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Run the tape.
I don't have time for that right now.
Okay, so but consider this. I do think that both of those guys have a legitimate opportunity to be top five or top 1, whatever. I'm not top 3. I'm top 2, but
and I'm not 2. Top 2, and I'm not 2. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, that was for you. Okay, so but the Rams, we talked about this before, about not wanting to draft any Rams because you just don't know who's going to be the guy each and every week. Apparently, it's just going to be Kupp each and every week. Can you still trust that week in, week out, with Woods there, with Cooks there, Everett getting some love as of late? Whereas Godwin is sharing with Evans, 2 versus 3. What say everyone?
Well, I think Kate made a really good point about Jared Goff not playing very well. I think if the Rams want to be successful this season, they're going to need to make some changes. I mean, we saw it with Gerald Everett getting incorporated more last week, but I still think that they need to do something with their running backs as well, because they're not targeting their running backs like they did in the past either. So I just don't see a way that they can win or get where they want to go by just basically funneling everything to Cooper Kupp. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially if Brandon Cooks misses time. It's going to be interesting to see if Gerald Everett can keep that up, because I think that's a weapon that they haven't used before, but it's a weapon that could really be a mismatch, because he's basically, he looked a lot like Evan Ingram the other night. I mean, that's basically how they're using him. They're using him as another slot receiver, and he's a guy that definitely is a mismatch almost against every defense.
Well, and I think also, like, when I was just watching, Everett this week, I felt like the plays that they were using to, Baker's back.
Wait, he is? Wait, Baker's back?
Real showstopper.
Hold on, Baker's back?
Oh my God, he loves attention.
Baker.
The plays that Gerald Everett was being used on, they reminded me so much of like plays that we would see them work Gurley into the mix, and plays that they would be using their running back for in seasons prior. So I think maybe that's the hole that they're trying to fill, and they just haven't been a very tight end scheme heavy offense. But maybe this is them starting to exploit that now that the run game isn't what they want.
And keep an eye on, if Brandon Cooks is out, keep an eye on how much Josh Reynolds plays, because they actually went away from some of their 3 receiver sets last week and used Gerald Everett. They used a lot more 2 tight end sets last week. So it's going to be interesting to see, because last year when Kupp went down, they basically plugged in Josh Reynolds, put him outside and move Robert Woods into the slot. And it wasn't as good as it was when they had Woods, Kupp, and Cooks. But they basically stuck to the game plan, and their offense wasn't the same in the second half of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if McVay changes that going forward, and if you see more of the 2 tight end sets, because I don't think Josh Reynolds can do anything but play. I think he can only play on the left side, and he can only play the X receiver. He can't really do anything. He can't play the same way that they use Robert Woods. So it's going to be interesting to see how much he plays if Cooks misses time. And then Darrell Henderson, are they ever going to involve him at all in any sort of passing role?
Man,
he's
that
just
dude
chilling.
is just non-existent. My goodness.
Somewhere Joe Pano is hurting.
So.
Yeah, he's
somewhere Joe Pano's hurting. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Somewhere Joe Pano is very sad about life.
Okay.
the big homie Pano. I want to travel to the running backs real quick. Let's go to Denver, where we're looking in PPR leagues. Philip Lindsay, running back 12. Royce Freeman, running back 27. How are we liking these guys moving forward?
Ugh. Ugh.
I think
I don't want either one. Like, I understand Philip Lindsay keeps having decent games, but then he has a bunch of stinkers too in between. So you're going to have that all season long, and you're never going to know what running back they decide to use that week. They're definitely a 50-50 backfield, and it's just not one I want to own. I do think Lindsay's had a couple games that were productive enough that you can go sell them, and I would.
Yeah, I actually, out of the two, I would prefer to, like if I had Philip Lindsay, I would happily trade Philip Lindsay for Royce Freeman in a piece at this point. I feel like he's been just as a reliable back. In PPR leagues, he's been scoring like 10, 12 points pretty reliably so far in the season. He's been catching passes. And I think I just don't trust Philip Lindsay's efficiency metrics, which we saw early on in the season. He's not as efficient as he was last year. He was just a little too on the money in 2018, and people overpaid for it.
Can I get a take on a trade? Because what you said is actually an offer I put out. I somehow have Philip Lindsay on one of my dynasty teams. I don't even know how. I don't know how that happened.
I was just about to say, bro, what do you mean you don't know how that happened?
Well, no, I still don't. I don't know. He's just there. But so I've been trying to get rid of him forever, and I would rather have Royce Freeman. And I feel like Royce Freeman is, at least less valuable in terms of ADP. And so you say Royce Freeman and a piece. I did something of the sort. Lindsay and a third for Freeman, Justice Hill, who's also dead, and a 2020 second.
I absolutely would. I think absolutely. I think that.
But is that acceptable? Would the other side accept?
I think so. I think the person. It's all about the current perception, right? Like you can talk about ADP all you want, but at the end of the day, like we're past ADP. Like you drafted your guys where you drafted your guys, and so far Mark Ingram has come out to kill it. Like it's like the ghost of Justice Hill, and you might be able to catch somebody who's panicking. I mean, the Ravens are still going to be a run heavy scheme, but they've had some juicy matchups through the air that I think they've exploited.
But that's like a perfect piece to get into a trade too. Like she, for a while there, a couple years ago, was putting James Conner into every trade because, he was stuck behind Le'Veon Bell. He's not going to play. But sooner or later, they get their chance. And if you believe in the talent, that's when you should be trading for him is right now, a year or two before he ever gets his chance, because you're going to get him for nothing.
Yep. Gabe, I'm curious, what's the starting lineup format? And that would probably seal the deal for me. Is it a league where there's multiple flexes, or is it pretty shallow in terms of the starters?
That one, I believe you have to start 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers and a couple flexes.
Because I look at it, if it's shallow and I have both Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay, I'm hesitant ever to put Royce Freeman in my lineup in a shallow league, but I'm probably more apt to put Philip Lindsay in my lineup every week. But if there's a format where I can roll out, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and there's like 4 flex spots, then I don't really care. As long as Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman both kind of fit the parameters of who I can just throw in and start, then I'll take the extra pieces. So I think that matters. In a shallow league, I wouldn't start Royce Freeman. In a deeper league, I would. So I'm fine taking him and another piece on top of it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And it is one running back and 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end. So it's a trade addicts, J Mike. Shout out to Hardy Har. I'm trying to get Freeman squared on my team, Devontae and Royce, because why not, right?
Yeah, start 1 running back. I think that's a smash accept for you if you can get that, because the scarcity of it is a lot less.
Right.
Last one I want to get into, and then we can start making our way out of the bar, close this thing down.
Oh, excuse you.
It's I'm not starting with you. Um, at quarterback 19 on the season so far, Aaron Rodgers. How we moving with
Game
A-Rod?
manager, system quarterback.
Yeah, you're.
He's droppable in redraft.
I
Sorry.
think so too.
Woo.
Ooh.
Redraft. It's like I just
In a
don't
one
care.
quarterback league, you're
Yeah.
droppable. There's play the matchups. I would much rather do that. I know you invested the draft capital, but that's just not the direction that Green Bay's going right now. Like you can only hold on to your draft capital for so long before it just burns your roster. And that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing.
You might still be able to sell the name just for a little piece.
Yeah.
But if not,
if I could trade Aaron Rodgers for Jacoby Brissett in a piece, I would do it.
Well, no, you're not going to be able to do that. Or maybe you can, but I'm just talking about Aaron Rodgers for a random wide receiver that you can start and then stream the quarterback position. Because either way, you're just going to be streaming if you drop him. But you can't hold on to the name. You can't hold on to the name. You got to go find someone better.
Yep.
You should be starting Minshew over Rodgers every week.
Turn up.
Week 15 at Week 15, he's got the Bears. Week 16 at Minnesota. So I don't want any part of that in terms of redraft leagues. And in Dynasty, I mean, if you're a playoff team, you just see those matchups. And I think you're in a position now where if you're 4-1 or 5-0 and he's one of your starters, I mean, I couldn't blame somebody for looking ahead and saying, I don't want any part of that. If I have a really good team, I don't want any part of that playoff matchup, and basically just swapping him out for another quarterback and just kind of taking a little bit of a loss, maybe long-term, and going for the win this year.
And is it a loss long-term? Because we saw him last year struggle. And I know he ended up, decent in the rankings because he had like 2 bomb games. But this is now 2 years of Rodgers struggling. And we blamed it on the injury last year, thinking that now that he's healthy and now that Mike McCarthy, right? That's his name, yeah. Is gone, that he is going to become this great quarterback again in fantasy. And he's not. Someone just asked Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't even think about it. I would do Josh Allen all day, every day.
That's an easy one for me. I think his upside.
I'm also like weirdly in love with Josh Allen. So.
I think Matthew Stafford.
Weird obsession you have.
Matthew Stafford's another one you could potentially easily get something on top of for Rodgers in Dynasty, and he has the Buccaneers in the playoffs this year, Buccaneers and Broncos. So I think that's a lot better of a matchup that you can get. And next year, this time, you could see Stafford obviously bounce back. I could see his value bouncing right up where Rodgers is in Dynasty.
Yeah, I as far as playoff schedule, Allen gets the Ravens, the Steelers, who are looking a little tough, and New England Patriots, which I don't like that either.
That's not a good schedule.
But leading up, we've got the Dolphins, Eagles, Redskins, Browns, Dolphins, Broncos. Like, that is just absolute delicious.
So then
after
the second Miami game, then you go trade him for some other piece. But I don't like that Week 16 game. If you make it into the Super Bowl there, you can't play him against the Patriots.
But, man, what a game that's going to be. Like, I feel like the Bills are just so hot right now, and I really feel like they're going to be in contention for a wild card spot, and they're going to be going up against the Patriots, it's going to be in Foxborough, but that is going to be such a good rematch. I think that my eyes were just absolutely glued to that television the entire matchup last week. Amazing.
I mean, if Josh Allen just plays better in that game.
Yeah.
Or
plays the last
just
quarter.
doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. I think.
But he still had 3 picks leading up to the exit, and the defense just kept him in it the whole time. I mean, one of those drives without a pick and a touchdown instead is just.
Well, Brady had a terrible game as well. I just think both of those defenses are absolutely dominant. Well, we haven't seen the Patriots actually play anybody yet, but so far, the teams that they have played, they've been dominant. And we can call them that until they actually play a real NFL team. We'll see if they ever have to.
I'm about to get crazy with this, y'all. I have Aaron Rodgers in the league. Say what?
I said, J-Mike.
I have Aaron Rodgers in the league, and I'm going to send an offer for one Josh Allen. See if I can get.
I like it.
I don't know what I'd have to do to make that work for the other owner.
Start the conversation.
GM.
It's their
But,
bye week. You got a quarterback to replace him this week?
I am. Yeah, I'm sitting. This is a kamikaze league. This is the famed kamikaze league from John Bosch. What up, Bosch? And all of the other 13 degenerates that are in this league with me. It's a league where I have my room is deep, but it's not great. So I've got like Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady, Mason Rudolph. But if I can somehow turn Aaron Rodgers into Josh Allen, I think that would make me very happy. And I did not anticipate that being the end point of this discussion that we just had when he asked the question. So Ray Garvin, shout out to you, my man, because I saw that I was like Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and then I was like, wait a second, and then you guys talked through it, and I did not expect this to be the landing spot. I am, yeah, that's good. That's really good. Anywho, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys abreast of the situation, making sure that we see if we can make this happen, because I like the optics of Josh Allen, because even this past week when he came back and he wasn't even expected.
You like the optics of Josh Allen? Give me that TD to INT ratio one time, J Mike.
No, I mean from this past week specifically, when we didn't think that he was going to be
Were
playing.
you not just talking Minshew, who has fumbled more times than he's like thrown a ball? Come on,
Those aren't optics.
like Josh Allen is great.
That's Baker and his left tackle.
He's great in fantasy, and he just had a rough week against the Patriots. Like everyone has a rough week against the Patriots, right?
It happens. But Josh Allen gave you over 200 yards passing, and then the 2 touchdowns coming out the gate when we didn't even expect him to play. So, anywho, we'll see what happens. But that, Gabe, I'm out of bullets. This has been such a good night, man.
Don't ever be mean to my Josh Allen. I'll come at you.
I'm scared. I'm scared for him. I just I hope he doesn't continue to run the way that he does, because he's just not going to last in the NFL that long. I'm hoping.
I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson then, because he's a lot smaller. I think that was that concussion is going to happen to anybody. That was just a hit to the head. That's not like
Josh Allen runs differently. I think Lamar Jackson's a little bit more slippery. I couldn't say how he slides or if he slides in comparison to Josh Allen, but I know that Josh Allen doesn't really do that, or if he just doesn't know how to do that, I don't know. But I'm just saying I'm worried for him, and I hope that he can have a long career. That's all.
I think he's a Cam Newton type, which Cam Newton, in his older age has clearly been injured a little bit, but he's been pretty healthy for most of his career. Well, he's played for most of his career. I don't know about healthy, but he's actually made it through a good amount of his career.
Yeah, we have no idea if that brain is just complete mush by now. Hopefully not.
But he does have like the same build as Cam.
Judging by his hat selection, yes. The brain.
So we're selling Josh Allen in like 6 years when he's contemplating retirement.
Yes.
Just keep an eye on his hat wearing.
Lamar Jackson will already be out of the league by like 3 years with him. So
we've got some high highs to get to before that happens. So. Yeah, very good.
Periscope only. Trader Joe, no, my guy, no.
Same as ever.
Here at the Open Bar every Tuesday, we are now sharing on multiple platforms. One being the original YouTube, where you can chat live with people, or so they say. You can also hop in on what's called Periscope. It's right at the top of your Twitter page. Just look right up there. Oh, there it is. The Open Bar. We're here. We're live. We're having fun. We're having so much fun. We got Ball Blast Pod. We got Zay Jones Truther. We didn't talk about Zay. We have to talk about Zay Jones before we leave. We have to talk about Zay Jones, J Mike, right?
We talked Zay Jones. What was that? Was that the beginning of the pod, or was
we
that
didn't we didn't press live? I didn't press live yet. Sorry. So that has to be recorded now. We have to talk about Zay Jones, J Mike. 2023
or Zay Jones?
In fantasy?
You're tugging at my
Don-
heartstrings,
Don-
J. Mike. How many bullets do I have to fire with that?
You tell me. It's your show at this point, Scott.
I think it depends on the rosters, and it depends on the format of the starting lineups. Deeper league, I probably, with a lot of starting spots or a lot of flexes, I would consider that. Because I think this move to Oakland is going to be good for Zay Jones. I think Derek Carr fits in perfectly. And I before we started recording, I was telling you guys about all summer I was hunting for the next Tyler Boyd, and the name I kept coming back to is Zay Jones. And so here we are. Now he's in a situation where hopefully he gets more of an opportunity, but we'll see how it pans out. So probably I'd buy for a third just to see what happens.
I'll take the third. I don't trust I don't buy into the long-term plan for the Raiders. I don't even know if we're going to see Derek Carr at quarterback next year. Do you? Like I
Tell you what,
I don't buy into the Gruden method, and that's probably just me being stubborn. But I don't buy into Gruden. I don't buy into Derek Carr. I know he was a previous MVP candidate before he broke his leg. He's not a consistent quarterback. He shows flashes, and
Derek Carr is the only thing that's holding that team back right now. I actually do believe in Gruden. I didn't last year, but Hard Knocks, I liked him. He was annoying, but I liked him. Derek Carr is such a loser. Oh my God! On Hard Knocks, he was so embarrassing.
What did Derek Carr do to you?
He was such a loser on Hard Knocks. He was
He was very annoying on Hard Knocks. Oh,
he's boring.
Anytime the camera was on him, he needed to make sure that he was in a funny conversation, or even if the cameras couldn't hear him, his arms would be like this, like, I'm having the best time of my life right now.
Thankfully, someone else is with me on this. Thank goodness.
He's embarrassing.
I think that we see flashes from Marcus Mariota. Like we see all these flashes, but we just don't, aside from his one season, we haven't seen him put a whole season together.
Who did I compare him to? He is the The Office. He's the Dwight of The Office, and
Dwight Schrute.
He's so obnoxious to Michael, just like Derek Carr is to Gruden, and Gruden just seems to despise him. He's the Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, I don't think that quarterback. I would not be surprised.
Or even Andy. He might be Andy, even worse.
Oh, Andy! How do I?
That's good. That's good.
That's much better.
I do kind of respect Dwight a little bit, but man, Andy's cringy.
Hates Andy, so I think that's a little bit better of a comparison.
Yeah,
super in
term relationship.
As soon as Gruden can get him out of there, he'll be gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 2020 they find themselves a new quarterback, whether that be a Nick Foles. Hello.
Hey.
Bring it back.
Hey.
Hands off, Kate.
Y'all can
Hands
have
off
that
my
contract,
phone,
please.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Nate Peterman. He loves Nate Peterman, but
That's
he likes him more
I
than
just can't decide who I want as my QB3.
yeah. First world problems.
Yeah, oh my God.
Well, he's gonna feed Zay Jones the rest of the season. That's my prediction.
But
hopefully they run.
Aside from an Amari Cooper, when do we ever see wide receivers traded mid-season to come out and produce? Maybe he'll get targets, but it takes time to develop that rapport. And I think by the time they get there, like I said, they might be seeing a new quarterback. So why
do we think Zay Jones is going to be better with Derek Carr? Does he throw past 10 yards? He does. Right?
No, but that's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
If Tyrell's going down the field, and we just watched a week where Hunter Renfrow and Foster Moreau lead the Raiders in targets, then I think that Zay Jones within that same little radius of 10 yards or same little area of 10 yards, I think Zay Jones at least had the opportunity.
He needs to go back in the slot full time. That's what he wasn't doing in Buffalo. That's where he needs to go in Oakland. If he does that, I think there's a chance that you could see a value spike for him the second half of the season. But Kate, you make a good point that it's not like it's going to happen this weekend. So it may take a little time.
What if
as an AFC, a team that I like, the Steelers, and we need Oakland to lose, even though we have no shot anyways, but we need Oakland to start losing. Please start passing the ball to Zay Jones. He'll just drop it and then they'll lose. Please start throwing his way. That'll be great.
John Hogue, thanks for getting here right at the end of the show, just in time for the best part for Michelle Magic to call Carr a loser. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Don't forget his.
And she said it with such vitriol too. Just there was some deep rooted hate in behind that. That was heavy.
Sorry.
We struggled through hard times.
Yeah, watching him. I didn't even mind Antonio Brown parts. I was watching him.
Yep.
He was worse than James Winston, if that's possible.
Oh man, cringy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm kind of interested in the, and this doesn't have to be tonight, J Mike, calm down. But sometime in the future, maybe whenever the open bar comes on another Tuesday, I like the Office to QB comparison. I really like that. I mean, I think you could really go deep with that too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Could we do a whole show and just like literally go down the line and say which Office character is which NFL
How
player?
bad do you wish that Jay Cutler was still playing so we can compare him to Stanley? Like he would be perfect.
He loves
That's good. That's good.
I just checked my email. 16-team Superflex League. I saw a trade Cam Newton for Jacoby Brissett. Straight up.
No way!
I would take
called that.
Brissett. I would
Yeah.
take Brissett there.
I would
Yep.
take
Wow.
And a 16-teamer too, so you can't really mess around with. You can't take a lot of risk at your quarterback. So that I think that was a convicted trade by whoever acquired Cam.
That team has to be 0-5, ready to just like wait till next year.
I really think that team is just listening to the to the live show right now. What happened? They were like, man, let me go try this real quick.
Yeah, but we told them to go get Brissett.
Here come all the Rodgers for Josh Allen trade offers.
Okay, but we are
Oh.
going to jump back on for an Office
Office-themed
theme.
episode. Go let's make a roster of
Ooh, we can compete.
fantasy
Who makes
players.
the best roster.
and compare them
Oh,
to their Office counterparts.
We could do a draft. How fun is that?
Oh, there's so
We're
many
gonna come up with
possibilities.
something really fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yep.
be lit.
Yeah.
I mean, J Mike, we could
Very
draft right now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Renshaw, friend of the show, Rennie,
My
October.
Rennie Pooh, my grab bag alum brethren. What's up, Renshaw? The chat lit all the way. Apparently, the chat got its second wind right as we're trying to close out. I'm telling the guests, like, hey, guys, we'll be respectful of your time. We're going to be out. And then, of course, here we are lingering.
We're talking about the Office either way, so we're good.
Gabe, let's do it then. It's going to be fast.
Okay.
It's got to be fast.
Okay. Is it one round? Is it a snake? 2 round? What are we doing?
This is one. This is you shoot one shot. You
Okay.
get one shot.
All right.
We can do this one of two ways. We can do the quarterback and Office comparison,
Mhm.
or you can just choose your favorite character as the pick. How do we want to handle this?
Gotta do the quarterback comparison to a character.
Quarterback comparison it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's gonna be tough.
101 is going to be Scott. 102, Kate. 103, Michelle. 104, Gabe. 105, myself. That was a crappy randomizer. I hate that. All right. Scott, it's on you.
So I'm taking a quarterback and comparing it to my favorite Office character, right?
There
Yep.
you go. You got it.
So the first name that came to mind, I'm trying to think of a comparison for Jameis Winston because he basically just teases you every single week. He can be absolutely crush your matchup and win it for you, or you just watch him and you wonder, how's this guy in the league? So the first thing I thought was one of the characters I love from The Office is Daryl. And I always thought there needed to be more. We needed more Daryl in The Office. Every time he came on the screen, I would always laugh out loud. So I kind of compare Jameis Winston to Daryl because I just want to see more of him. I want to see more of the good performance. So Jameis Winston and Daryl, that's mine.
Unbelievable. The unmitigated gall, the disrespect, the shade of you, Scott, to take Daryl from me. I am Wow.
Hey, you gave me the first
Oh.
pick.
This is such crap. Anywho, that's yeah.
He's
I
really
like it. I like it a
upset
lot.
about this one.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm just.
I
I've
think
got a lot of theatrics going, but he's awesome. Anyway, I'm sorry. No, that's a good one too. Daryl, like you said, we needed more Daryl. He was fantastic.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna reach a little bit, but like hear me out here. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, Michael Scott.
That's
All right.
reaching.
No, it's reaching until you hear my philosophy. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the crap he comes up with just doesn't look like it should be successful, right? Like, he does some crazy stuff. Like, he should not be doing the things that he is doing because they are not smart. But guess what? They always work out. Which branch manager in Dunder Mifflin outperformed like every other branch despite all the crazy crap that Michael Scott does? He literally has movie day. And he still gets his...
She's like really pumped right now.
Yeah, because like Michael Scott, he's a goof. He's ridiculous. He's fun for me to watch at least. And the things that he's doing, they should not work for productivity. But yet, here it is, Dunder Mifflin Scranton, branch number 1, baby.
Branch number 1.
Yeah.
Love that.
Michelle, it's on you.
I was
like that.
I was gonna do Jameis.
No round of
Winston.
applause.
I was gonna do Jameis Winston, but that one was still on. I was gonna compare him to Creed because he's a creep, but
I like that one.
I think I have a better one. I'm gonna compare the Jaguars quarterback situation to the HR department at Dunder Mifflin.
Oh my God. You did not just fucking Toby Minshew. You did not just do that.
But you have
No, Minshew's Holly.
yeah, so you have Nick Foles, who's totally the Toby, where he's like,
Okay. All right.
it's his job.
Cool.
It's well, but and then you have Holly, who's all fun and funny, and you love her, but she's actually really terrible at her job. Like, she's making out in front of all of her coworkers. She does terrible stuff, but people like Holly more. Holly is a Minshew. He's actually pretty decent, but he's boring. So he's the Foles.
Yeah, she's literally sitting on Michael's lap, like stroking his thigh while they're having like, that's not a thing.
This is way easier than it should be. I feel like you're so easy to take care of people.
Y'all went back to
That-
back. Like, I kind of want you two to go back and forth on
Just
this.
keep going back and forth till one of them can't think of
I'm
one.
just kind of scared now. Too good.
Don't mess this up, Gabe. Do not mess this up. We've got a good run right
No
now.
pressure.
All right. Well, okay. So I saw a meme the other day. I believe it was Russell Wilson. What was it like? If he was like a drug dealer in the hood, he'd be like, hello, kind sirs. What can I get for you today? And that would totally fit for Russell, but it would also fit for Andy, I think.
Yeah.
He's just totally dweeby, trying to fit in, trying to be that guy. But he's the QB1, so I guess there is that going for Andy. But just from the persona alone, just Russell Wilson just appears so dweeby, and he's kind of Andy-like for me.
Yeah, what did they say about it when Aaron was like, "Tell me about Andy," and he's like, "Reminds me of Easter, not the snappiest dresser." Like, Russell Wilson reminds me of Easter. Like, I could totally.
Yeah, there you go.
That's really good. And yet again, I've been sniped on this time player because I was going to take Russell Wilson and compare him to Jim Halpert, just about how much of a he's there's a lot to go with that there, but I have to digress. I am going to go. I don't really love this one, but I'm reaching at this point. I've got the great Ryan Howard, who always thought he was more than he actually was. He thought he was super cool. He thought he had the greatest ideas. We all remember the epic tragedy that was Worcester. And he was going to just take over, and kind of everything fell off the tracks for him. And then he had to kind of
Baker right now because I'm about to shut this up.
Eventually he had to humble himself in the end. That's the way it had to go down. And I'm comparing Michelle, why are you stealing my thunder, Michelle? I'm totally comparing Ryan Howard to Baker Mayfield because I think that what we're gonna have because what we're looking at right now, this is what we're looking at right now is when Ryan like went off, was doing drugs, was like just a mess, just strung out on any and everything. And just crawling back to Michael Scott, like, please give me a job. Give me anything. That's Baker Mayfield right now. He is going to have to crawl back to Todd Monken's lap, to Freddie Kitchens' lap. Please save me. Actually, he's probably crawling back to Lincoln Riley. Like, please come save me. This is not what I signed up for. Life was really good in Norman, Oklahoma. I enjoyed myself. Planting flags and the like, and this ain't it, Chief. So yeah, Baker Mayfield as Ryan Howard. I'm pretty proud of that one here to close us out.
Right.
Very well done, J Mike.
I'd like to buy 3 drugs, please. Line.
That was pretty solid, I gotta say.
Well done. That was good. Well done all.
Wow.
Well, good thing we watched The Office because that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
We were able to go
all we needed was one of y'all. I don't know what Grease is. I don't know what The Office is. What kind of show is this?
Yeah, that started off a little dicey. Came through. All right, J Mike, shall we then?
I believe we shall, my brother.
Okay. Whatever you say. I pulled 15 more minutes out of you, and that's all I can take. Pause. All right.
Wait.
No.
We don't have to talk about them. I just want to point out some of the ones that were said in the chat.
Okay.
It's pretty good stuff.
All right.
Obviously, Renshaw hit us with a Michael Scott Paper Company, which that's just a great moment in time. We've got to go back to that. Renshaw also said, so Toby comes back like Foles does, or Foles is secretly a serial killer. Not sure which one of those things is true. Trader
Holy
Joe.
shit.
Yeah, probably both. TB12. Hidetoshi Hasagawa. I don't remember. Is that the guy from the
top salesman, right? Or no?
I was thinking it was one of the guys from the back, like where Daryl and them work in the.
Oh yeah, it's the guy who used to be a surgeon.
Oh shit, yeah, that he killed so many men or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's funny.
Okay.
I'm thinking it was that one called.
I like that.
Who did he say it was?
That was TB12. Tom Brady.
Okay. Yeah,
That's a good one.
That was really good. I like that. Low key. Chris Allen hits us with Russ. I'd like to buy 3 drugs, please.
See,
you know talking about Russell Wilson.
True,
That was good.
I'd like to buy
I like this one a lot
3
too.
drugs, please.
Cam Newton as Kelly Kapoor.
That's fact.
Fashion show.
That's really good. Oh my gosh. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anywho, sorry, I had to get those off real quick. When I saw
No,
those, I
that's
was dying.
Really good idea. Okay.
Well done all.
Yeah, very well done. Well, if you don't come into the live version of the open bar, you don't get the opportunity to, be a part of live office QB comparison draft things that we do at the end of the show. So thank you to the chat that suddenly exists and for participating in things, giving us things to chat about, whether you are on YouTube or Periscope. Very much appreciated. We are now going to provide an opportunity for our guests to say things about themselves and, what they have going on in their lives, fantasy-wise or not. We don't care. It's the open bar, baby. So we will finish how we started. Ladies, we will start with you. What have you got to say?
Kick it off.
It is well past my bedtime.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to start. I am. Did we get kicked off? Are we still?
No,
here?
we're the main screen.
We're the Ball Blast ladies. You want to explain where we are because you always do this part.
We are the Ball Blast podcast. You can find us literally anywhere you get your podcast. We skipped this week's episode, but we are back. We release every Tuesday and Thursday. Our mics broke this week, so we're revamping our whole studio courtesy of that one broken microphone.
Yeah,
and we're gonna ball out this whole place. I'm on Twitter at @FFBallBlast.
And I'm at BallBlastEM.
You can find our work. I'm writing over at Roto World and Roto Viz. I do the weekly trades column over for Roto World, Daily Dose on Wednesdays, and Flex article on RotoViz every
You
Friday.
still get to write that fun article.
I know.
She's gonna be up at 3 a.m. I'm going to sleep like right now. But yeah, come listen to our podcast if you get the chance. We're fun over there. We try to have a good time.
We don't always draft off it.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing that every episode.
That's so
I have
good.
to add that
Thank you all
segment
again
to
for
the
joining. Yeah. Just extra. You guys are extra busy and blowing up deservedly so. So kudos to you guys for sure for all of your for all your success and such. And also I must add, again at the Midwest FF Expo, when I first met you all, it was we had the debate between the black t-shirts versus the red t-shirts, and I believe that I was on Kate's team on this one. With the black shirts, just want to make sure that with whatever the new design that comes out, whatever soon, or if you come out with any kind of office themed attire from that might have been inspired from this episode, just please make sure it's black, and I'll be happy to buy it. If it's red, I'll look at it. I might even retweet it, but I'm not gonna buy it.
The red,
nothing but love, Michelle. Nothing but love.
Yeah, the red shoulder. I don't need your love, okay? I don't need your Baker hate.
She supports Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. She don't need your love, though.
Savage, straight savage.
Thank you, ladies, for coming on. Though it was an absolute ball blast, and we will do it again. You know what, J Mike? We've had Casey on before, where it wasn't just a ladies' night, but this is one of the few other times where we've had a ladies' night of sorts, integrating with the men. So, something to be said.
Absolutely.
We've yet to have a ladies' night this year as well. So I think that we might be due for running that back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right.
2.1 special.
On to the next. Scott Connor Scott. I feel the vibe of like the Doug Eddie Doug. Shout out to our friend Doug. The two first name is just I swear that's gonna get me next time that I say hello to you. But nonetheless, happy to have you. What have you got to say, my friend?
It's Connor with an OR. Just remember that, because pretty much everybody spells it with an ER, and I have to correct them. So just throwing that out there. If you're searching for me, it's with an OR. You can find me on Twitter at CharlesChillFFB. Thanks for letting me chill with you guys on the open bar, and Kate and Michelle. Nice to finally talk to you guys too. And you can check me on my podcast, which is the Dynasty and Chill podcast. So come chill with me. I usually drop it once a week, and it's really just some sort of observations from the last week. I try to go real deep into application for Dynasty strategy more so than just weekly breakdowns on matchups and stuff like that. So check it out, Dynasty and Chill podcast, really anywhere you find podcasts.
And I think that you are good at playing fantasy football. Is this true?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Aren't we all? That's why we're here, right? That's why we're the experts.
I don't know, man. I shared the tweet, and I went and tagged everyone, and I went and followed you because I'm a smart person for that, and everyone else should go and do that as well. And then I looked at your bio, and you said you were a 2-time FFPC champ. Is this true?
Hey.
Yeah, so I play high stakes fantasy in the FFPC. So that's really where I kind of make my way. I would say I love Dynasty, but that's I guess where you would say the money gets made in FFPC. So yeah, I've won a couple main events in FFPC, and usually go out to Las Vegas every year and do the live drafts there. So that's always a blast. So yeah, shout out to FFPC. It's probably the best, at least high stakes fantasy platform that's out there.
So
You also
Scott
have-
lived in a van in his garage,
Yep.
by
Big time.
choice, not
Top of the
by
hood.
not by not by any other reason, simply by choice.
You
Yeah, I
got the
guess you could
cash
say that.
stashed in the van. If y'all
Oh
want
yeah.
it. So your handle also has a first name tag to it. Why is that? Scott Connor Charles. What's going on here?
Charles is my middle name, so everyone when I
my
was a
goodness.
kid called me Charles Chill. So that's where it comes from. Pretty simple.
Boy. Oh boy.
Perfect.
Love it.
Everything about me
Beautiful.
is pretty chill. Let's just say that.
Okay. Okay.
Big facts.
Um
Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
Yep.
Appreciate you. I appreciate, you know what I did appreciate is on tonight's show anyway, about the mention of playoff schedules. Cause it's week 6 now, but it's something to certainly take note of now, considering what your team is doing. If it's 5-0, if it's 4-1, you might have to start thinking about those kind of things. So I appreciate that. And thank you for mentioning it.
Yep.
Okay, J Mike, what about you, man? Who are you?
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name. Anyway,
Give us that song.
super. I love it. Just thankful to be with you guys this evening. Thank you all again to our guests. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Kate, Michelle, Scott. This is truly a pleasure for me to be able to chop it up with you all. And so thank you very much to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for rocking with us as well. A lively night in the chat to be able to talk through a lot of things and to close it off with something as epic as the Office quarterback draft. It was good. You can find us on podcasts pretty much everywhere: Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean. Yes, we're back on Apple Podcasts in a major way. This just search for us as the Open Bar podcast. Obviously, go please show us some love by checking out the actual store, the Open Bar .storeenvy.com. Did I get that right, Gabe?
Yeah. And speaking of, can we get the Ball Blast girl? I mean, off air, of course. We need the Ball Blast girl's address so they can share a Chuval shirt to wear, because it appears that Michelle is very much flexing the Chuval brand.
Right, try the best.
You can find obviously you can find me on Twitter at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. You can find the show's handle at the Open Bar Pod on Twitter, and then you can find my main man, the host with the most, the man with the bars, the bar everything, Mr. Bar Mitzvah himself. Gabe Gearing, hashtag Gearing of all time, at FF Man Bun on Twitter. Gabe, I appreciate you. I'm excited to see you in a couple weeks. Take us home.
It's so soon, man. I'm excited. Open bar special, whatever that night is that we meet up, a little open bar special, just a little hello to Twitter, be like, sup fam, we in here.
Just go live and just go ham. I'm here for it.
All right. No, this is great. This was absolutely wonderful. We'll have to do it again sometime, possibly next week. That will definitely happen. Right, J Mike? Is that true? I feel like you're running out of guests. You have to be running out of guests.
Never that. It's just a matter of asking. And of late, I've been very, very courageous in the face of a lot of no's. So I'm still going ham. It's all good.
All right. Did you scoop us Barry yet? Did you scoop us old Matty B?
No, I'm still working.
I don't know, man.
Slide in those DMs again.
Yeah.
I mean, Bristol ain't nothing but like 16-hour drive away. It's all good.
That's true. Okay.
OJ, when are you having him on?
Oh, jeez. He might actually accept, and that's a problem.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, we better get off with that. He might be watching. Okay, Scott, you can't just throw that shit out there. All right. So what else? I don't know. Thank you everyone. The J Mike didn't mention Dummy Blitz. Probably, I think he mentioned our store, but go and listen to the Dummy Blitz, part of the Dynasty Dummies and the Fantasy Funhouse podcast network. Dummy Blitz, Dummy Blitz, yeah. Go listen
Zach
to that.
would be so disappointed right now.
I don't know. I think I hit it.
I'm done with you.
I will be recording intros. I actually was today, and then my microphone literally broke. I don't know if you were watching the broadcast, but my microphone broke. So we'll see what happens from here on out as far as an attachment of how I can, because I can't just hold the mic like this, J Mic, and just spit bars. I mean, I could, but I don't know, not into that. So look for those. Thank you for asking me to do them for you. Much appreciate that. Let's get out of here. Is Michelle going to be back to cheers us? Is she handling the dogs? What's going on here?
She gone.
She gone? Okay.
She gone.
Well, we will double cheers for Michelle. Everyone else can cheer. They don't want. Oh, okay. There it is. There's a cheers. There's a cheers. There's a cheers. Yeah. Boy, howdy, this was great. We eclipsed 2 hours, J Mike. I got you again, Bucko. I got you again. We will see y'all next week. Doses.